Hello everybody, it's Jenny McGarvey and I have a look today at my week 35 of Project Life. As you can see, I'm using the Scraptastic Club September This Life Noted kit. It's sitting right there in that plastic bag. And as I'm getting started, I'm throwing down my photos, referring to my notebook where I keep all of my notes regarding the week and what I'm going to do for this particular layout and how I am going to set it all up. Now I'm trimming up one little 3x4 photo. That's all I have for this particular side of this layout. The rest of the cards will be journaling cards and filler cards, plus then embellishments and those sorts of things. Now I'm going through the kit. There's lots and lots included in these kits. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to take a look at those, but the cards are super high quality. They're really thick and they are obviously well designed with beautiful colors and images, which is great and makes really putting together these layouts very, very easy. Now as you can see, I've chosen a few different ones and I will go back and change these several times throughout the course of this. I get kind of different ideas as I go, which doesn't actually normally happen. I normally, pick something and stick to it, but on this particular spread, I have a couple of different ways to go based on what I have left in the kit and then also the overall feeling of the week. So I will start with that calendar card, realize it's not September yet, so I need to get rid of it, and then I switch some things around. One of my favorite parts is choosing the 4x6 card for this particular side. And I go with the wood grain card that says lovely on it and it has the blue flowers, but you'll see that in a little bit. Now, one of the best parts is this 3x4 card that just has the little strip of text at the bottom, and I'm going to trim up my photo and adhere it to the top, and then it gives it the overall Polaroid or Instax type frame, and I just absolutely love how that turned out. It's really cute, and I think I'll probably have to try more of that in the future, even if it ends up just being something that I create on my own and not with a pre-printed card. Now I also, this is where I realize that I'm off in the month and I need to choose a different card since it's not September, and that ends up being, there are lots of great ones to choose from, but it really it all has to go together and be cohesive, which the kit does definitely go together and it is cohesive, but for me, I wanted it to all sort of blend together. So that's where that 4x6 card comes in. Now that I've chosen that, that feels like sort of a focal point for me, so I will use it to sort of choose some of the other cards to go along with it, including the journaling cards and also the other filler cards as well. Now I really liked that blue and green one that I chose right by that photo that is sort of a watercolor effect with the sequins on it, and I did really want to use that. So this works out great because it goes well with that lovely card. Now I'm going to go through the little bag of ephemera with all the different little die cuts and tags and bits and pieces and figure out how I can use a few of those different pieces for this particular page. Now I love that strip. It's so cute, and then it's the added benefit of it being journaling, and then a couple of little tags that'll work well from this particular bag of goodies. Now I want to also look through some of the other items that are included in this kit, including those cut-aparts, which I really like using. I love that usually the colors are spot on, the designs are fun, and they work well right on top of photos. Obviously, they'd be fantastic on top of journaling cards as well, but sometimes it's a little bit harder to find ways to incorporate different embellishments on the photos. So this is fun because I can just use these cut-aparts and adhere them right on top of the photo, which is fun. Now as you can see, I'm going to just go ahead and adhere that one down from the little ephemera pack, and then I'll use an old school like jelly roll type silver pen to circle the date on there, and I just like it because it's really not something that you notice. Since there's not a lot of contrast, it sort of blends together. But if you're looking at it, you see it. It just doesn't stand out on the page, which I didn't really want it to. Now I've adhered that little orange tag down to that lower left-hand corner photo, and I'm going to go ahead and look through my stash for a brad for it because I just thought that would add that fun little sort of gift tag look to it. I don't know if that's really actually accurate or not, but I thought that that would be fun. And it's always fun to use items from your stash on these layouts too. So win-win, right? Now I'm trying to figure out how to dress up that top right photo. I know that I want to do something because the photo itself is a little bit different. It's a shirts versus skin game of my son playing soccer, and that's just not something that's seen very often, and so I thought that that would be fun to sort of make note of that, or at least, draw your eye to it so you would see it. But I have to think on that a little bit longer to figure out how to work with that one and how to make that known. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the journaling card and add some handwritten journaling to this one. I've been going back and forth in the last couple of weeks between using my typewriter and then also hand journaling, but this one really just seemed fine to go ahead and hand journal. And I use a Sharpie pen. It's not fancy or anything like that, but it works for me. I really like the tip of it, and it works great with my particular handwriting, so I highly recommend those. But obviously not everything works the same for everyone. Now we're getting a little bit closer to wrapping up this particular side of this page. However, it's not completely done. As you can see, I'm not able to use the alphabet stickers from this kit because I pretty much decimated them on the last one. And if you'll recall, if you've watched any of my prior videos, I used them for that tic-tac-toe looking card, and so I did end up using a whole lot of them. So I'm just going to use a little label looking die cut, and just hand write what I want to say on there instead of using these alphabet stickers to spell it all out. Which is fine, it's really not a big deal. I feel like that's sort of the way to be about this project, being a little bit more flexible and using what you have. I didn't really want to get too stressed out about alphabet stickers, so it worked fine to just use a little label. Now I feel like the left side is pretty well complete, so I'll go ahead and move on to the right side, and I'll throw down my photos and get them all in place and ready for embellishing, and then adding also the different journaling cards and filler cards as well from that kit. Now this side I do need 2 of the 4x6 cards to go. I'll use one as sort of just an embellished filler card, and then one for my date card as well. And I guess this page ended up having sort of a black and white and green overall feeling, though, there's obviously a few other little colors mixed in here and there. Now I'm looking for through my stash, of the 3x4 cards in the kit, and trying to find ones that work perfectly for those 2 slots. I knew I wanted a filler card and a journaling card so I could talk a little bit about what had happened over the weekend. And I would have never put together a green flare with that green card initially because A, I'm not really a big fan of green right now, and B, I would have thought that the tone on tone might be a little bit much, but in the end, when it was all put into my album and stuff, I actually really love how it turned out, so I'm glad that I sort of stuck that down there and just tried it out to see how it was. So it works great there. Now again, I'm just going to go through some of the items in the kit, getting to that in a minute, but first I'm going to go ahead and use the VersaFine ink and one of my roller date stamps to go ahead and add the date to that upper left hand card, making this one sort of my date card. And I'll use the one roller stamp, and then I'll pull out a different one that has some different basic shapes on there as well, and try to draw an arrow between the two dates. But unfortunately, I don't do a very good job stamping, which is not outside the realm of normal. And so I need to use my pen and draw that in. And you know what? It's really honestly not that big of a deal, so I don't worry too much about it, and I just sort of move on. Now I'll go ahead and adhere down that flare since I do like the way that it looks, that green flare on top of the green and white card. And that's really looking pretty good. You can see that I have a photo of the fireworks right there next to that particular 3x4 card that I was working with. And I'm just going to leave that one alone, not for any other reason that it's fairly self-explanatory, and I don't feel like it's necessary to add anything else to that particular one. Now, as you can see, I'm trimming apart one of the cut aparts from the kit. It's green with yellow ampersands on it, and it goes perfectly with that card right next to it, which works out great and ties them all together. And I always feel like this particular layout, I'm switching things up and changing things, and it really had a hard time getting settled and put together, which isn't always the norm. I usually feel like I kind of pull things out and let them be. But this week I'm, changing it up a little bit, I guess. Anyway, so I'm adding a little bit of handwritten journaling to that particular card, and that's fun too because it really makes that journaling stand out on that page, since there's nothing else really handwritten and everything else is fairly, I don't know how to say it, pretty clean. And then obviously the handwriting adds a little bit more whimsy and it draws your eye to it, or at least it draws my eye to it anyway. Now I pull out that wood veneer diamond, and at first I don't really understand why that's kind of cool, and then as I get ready to adhere it, I realize that's super fun because it's a picture of my son playing baseball, and they are on a baseball diamond, and so then having that diamond wood veneer is really cool. So I will also then add the tiniest bit more journaling to that top card, and realize that that photo with the wood veneer and the little cut apart flag also still just needs a little bit of something. Now I loved the circles with the text included in the kit this month, and that one was, they are about 1.5 inches wide, and I really wanted to punch a piece of 1.5 inch wide patterned paper and then back that on that circle, that wood veneer circle, but I didn't do that this time. Instead, I just added that ticket to the photo of my family at the baseball game, and it worked out perfectly since it's a little admit one ticket and we were at a baseball game. So it's funny how sometimes things are included in the kit that are exactly what you need for a particular photo, just like in that instance right there. Now I'm starting to sort of wrap up this page. There's just really a couple of more things to finish, including this little label that I can add just a cute little name and a date to that particular photo. And then also just a little bit more stamping, really, and then the page is getting closer to being finished. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm just going to add the date stamp to that photo. I used the Stays-On ink and a roller date stamp. I use the Stays-On so that I don't have any problems with smearing or anything like that, since that dries really quickly. I'm sure you can use other inks as well. That's just what I have and what I use. And I'm pulling out the This Life Noted stamp set, and I'm going to add a phrase on there, and I end up loving how it turns out. And the stamps, I wasn't really sure how I would use them, but now that I've used them once and they are super cool, I absolutely anticipate using them again in the future because they look really neat and they were fun, and they didn't have to be all lined up perfectly or anything like that. And since I usually try to stay away from things that have to be lined up perfectly, since I'm not very good at it, these are pretty perfect. And like I said, they end up looking really good. So now I'm just going to go ahead and use the VersaFine ink with those stamps and stamp them right on there. And as you can see, it looks really cool, and the contrast of the black with the white and the green is awesome. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this look at my project life, week 35, using the Scraptastic Kit Club This Life Noted kit. If you've enjoyed my video, I would absolutely love it if you would leave me a thumbs up, and I hope you will have a great day. Thank you for stopping by.